Okay, I wanted to put out one more quick video um, today, now that I finally have a little bit of time. Um, and what I want to talk about is some of the coping strategies that I have been using and am working on using now. I think it's good to talk about this kind of stuff and not dwell on everything that's bad and negative and so forth. I've mentioned before that I want to talk about how I met my wife, and that is something I do want to talk about at some point. Um, I think that some of you will be interested to know at least, well, kind of where I came from, because honestly, I'm a lot better now than I was when I was younger. I mean, when I was younger, it was really, really bad. Um, and there has been a progression, and that kind of tells the story of some of the things I did that did help. Um, but I don't want to talk about that now. What I want to talk about are some coping strategies. Now, all the research I've done online and the videos that I've seen all kind of cements my mind that social anxiety is ultimately caused by, what goes on in here. The thought patterns that we have, the way we think about things, the assumptions we make, um, and all of this kind of stuff. And that social anxiety is curable in as much as those patterns can be changed. And they can be changed. Um, I know this. I mean, this is kind of exciting to me and encouraging to me, I should say, because it's exactly the same sort of stuff which caused me to have real problems with depression. And I've made a lot of progress in the past couple of years, um, getting out of and staying out of depression by controlling, my thoughts, And it sounds like mind control or something. Really what it boils down to is recognizing when I'm thinking something which is depressive, um, and which I know will lead to depression, and saying stop, wait, don't think that, God's sakes, think something else. Now, yeah, social anxiety does work the same as depression in that respect. I expect that there will be up days and down days, and that progress will be a slow, kind of gradual thing, generally speaking. But that over time it will get better. Um, so, like I said, I might never be, a celebrity that, is that wows people at the parties and stuff. I am an introverted, quiet person. That's just who I am. But, I do hope to eventually be able to handle social situations without getting, overwhelmed. And I would like to be able to open my mouth, like with my kids, and like talk to them and some of this stuff. I mean, there's a lot of times when I want to say things, I want to talk, I want to be part of the interactions, but I just can't do it. I want to get to a point where I can. So I think that there are three broad kind of categories that you could split the thinking into. One is the thinking that happens before you do something, which is going to be a trigger. The thinking that is done while that trigger experience is happening, and the thinking that happens afterwards. Before, like I have to go talk to somebody at the store, or whatever, to figure something out. You know, Thinking before about the whole drive there, thinking about how you wish you didn't have to do this. They're gonna think I'm stupid. They're gonna look at me. I'm not gonna I'm gonna look funny. They're not gonna like me. All that stuff. It's this total preparation for failure. Going into it. By the time you get there, of course, my experience has been that by the time I even get there, I'm already freaked out. And then when I talk to them, um, my thoughts, kind of change. I mean, first of all, I get very, very, very self-conscious by that point. I walk in there and like I'm aware of how I walk, and so I'm like not walking right anymore because I'm paying too much attention to it. I'm aware of exactly how I'm like hypercritical, like everything I'm doing. Um, and all the while thinking, like my God, they must think I'm a big idiot. Um, and all around makes it worse. And then afterwards, I'm like, well, that sucked, you know, um, and just replaying stuff. If I said something which I didn't think was perfectly right, I replay it in my mind like over and over again and be like, man, that came out even worse than I thought. It's like, you know, I mean, just all this stuff, you know, and like all these patterns. I mean, you go on and on about all the different types. Um, the crucial thing is to kind of be aware of what's happening, and to also be aware that a lot of that is, you know, sort of magical thinking. You know, they probably don't really care either way about me. I'm just another customer. You know, they see different types of people all day long. You know, they're not going to pay any special attention to me. Um, you know, I'm not in there to try to get a date or something. I mean, that is another thing, but I mean, it's the same sort of thing. Regardless, I guess, you know, I shouldn't make that as a point because it's all the same stuff, you know, regardless of the situation. Being aware of those thinking patterns and how it interacts with that and how they're not constructive, and basically saying, you know, for the sake of getting over social anxiety, I'm going to not dwell on stuff before I go in there. I'm going to stay relaxed. I'm not going to let myself think these kinds of negative thought patterns. I'm not going to sit there and say, you know, they're not going to like me. I'm just, you know, if nothing else, I'm going to make myself think of something totally random and different. Something, you know, anything other than, you know, these kinds of thoughts. When I'm in there, I'm not going to focus on myself. I'm going to focus on, you know, like what they're saying, or if they're doing something in the computer, maybe I'll focus on, you know, their hands typing or what the person next to me is saying. I mean, doesn't matter as long as I'm not like focusing on like every detail of what I'm doing. And then afterwards, you know, not dwelling on that stuff, you know, just kind of going through. And I had real success with this the other day when I had to pick up my work phone from Verizon. I was there for a good hour. I kept control of my thoughts going in. You know, while I was there, I kept control of my thoughts. I did all of those things and was really pretty relaxed, you know, and you know, I mean, I bumbled with stuff sometimes. You know, you know, and so forth. I mean, it's not like I was perfect, you know, but I didn't expect myself to be perfect. I'm okay with the fact that it wasn't perfect, and I just didn't worry about it. I didn't dwell on it, you know, I just kind of moved on. The only hitch in that whole thing was when I had to call my boss, you know, one of the big upper bosses in my company, to get authorization. I don't know why phones are so awful, but that kind of freaked me out. I did still do it though, and I got over it, and then, you know, I relaxed and I just kind of let it go, and I didn't, you know, go and dwell on, you know, for the next 5 hours, you know, how awful I was on the phone and so forth. And all in all, I think it was a big victory, you know. I feel really encouraged by it. So I'm going to wrap this video up. I'll share more later. And yeah, you're not alone. As long as you're still trying, there's always hope. This is a solvable issue. So yeah, take care.